So yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've heard of Shiv Nadar University, the name of it, right? But there's still a lot of questions, still a lot of unknowns about a university like Shiv Nadar University, right? Because it's new. It's only 10 years. And if you look at a life of a university, it's almost as if we are not out of the maternity ward, right? Universities have a really long life. Those are some of the really long-lived institutions, religious institutions and universities, right? Those are some really long-lived institutions. And given that, 10 years is simply nothing. But yet in these 10 years, I would like to believe that we have done certain things to gain that trust, and in some ways have changed how economics is taught in India. So all of them are here, and we are all very excited to talk to you about Shiv Nadar University, and particularly the master's program, right? And then because I know that's all, that will be very interesting for you guys. So we'll share a presentation. So the university, as I said, it's a 10-year-old university, right? And it's located in Delhi NCR. It's located in Greater Noida. It's actually a very nice location. It's away from the maddening center of Delhi, yet it's very reachable. It's 1.5 hours from the airport and so on. And the good thing is it's a 280-acre campus, which is green and almost an oasis, right? And it's a residential campus, so you'll get to live on campus, hopefully. Yeah, I mean, I do not think this COVID will last that long. I hope it's soon going to end and we can bring people back to campus. The university was set up in 2011, so 10 years. We're celebrating decade of our existence. But within that, what already we have achieved, and not only for the economics department, but the university as a whole, it's a university which has become an institute of eminence. As you know, 10 public universities and 10 private universities were selected as University of or Institute of Eminence. Jadavpur University, by the way, in Bengal being one of them. But only a few actually have made it to that level. We are one of the very few. As far as I know, only 4 private universities have actually made it to that level right now. So we are there. And if you will look at NIRF ranking and all, we are about 56. NIRF ranking again is about the whole university. The department, well, the university started in 2011, department started in 2012. And as you have already heard, I have been at the university since almost then. And so the great thing that happened was that we could start things from scratch. We could design things in the way we thought it should happen, not that something we inherited and we had to go on with it, right? And that was the beauty of it. And so every member of the department was passionate. Every member of the department remains passionate about doing things which are really impactful. Yeah, and that's, again, in 8 or 9 years, we have achieved that status where we can claim it to be one of the best departments. And one thing about there have been, the last decade has seen a lot of changes in higher education sector, right, in India. And many new universities have come up. There's been changes within public university systems, and the NAP is coming up. So lots of changes. But one thing is for sure that there's not too many research universities in India even now, even among private players, right? I mean, research is expensive. It's not easy to do. So, but SNU, Shiv Nadar University, is one of the very few which from the very beginning has been committed to build a comprehensive research university, and that's what we are. So in the department also, we value research a lot. We are focused on research, and every person in the department has very active research agenda, right? And it covers a lot of areas. There are different areas in economics, as you know. There might be some areas where, for example, we don't do RCTs. RCTs is random controlled trials, which are experiments in the field, right? But if you leave out some of those, and that is generally now only done by a few universities and institutes because it's very expensive, and there are questions about that and so on. I'm not getting into all of that, but we cover a lot of areas. We cover economic theory to macroeconomics, development, environment, labor, health. Shampa here, for example, works on labor. I work on macro, right? So all kinds of areas are covered. So if you have interest in any of these things, you'll always find a person to talk to, and not only talk to in terms of learning about that, but also talk to about that person about doing research in that. And that is the best part. Yeah. What we are doing is we're trying to build, of course, the research department, but also we are the center of what we are doing is this empowerment that we want in our students, who we think can really change the society. right? So that is something that we're committed to. We really think we can, and we are already pushing the boundaries, particularly in different areas within India, and enlarging a vision of a just society. Yeah. And I'll talk about campus, 280 acres. I've already said, beautiful campus. There's wetland within the campus, amazing sports facility. But all of that means nothing, right? All of it means nothing unless we have faculty members to back that up. Faculty members who are amazing in terms of what they do in research, in teaching, and committed to build really the best department, committed to ensure that every student of ours become a leader in whatever they do, right? And as you can see, people have done PhDs from some of the best places, from Southern Methodist, British Columbia, Champa, Minnesota, me, ISI, Delhi, Ashok, as you can see, Kurt from UC California, Irvine. Rajat is also our dean from Maryland. Go ahead. And also you can see that there are areas of research. Go ahead, Shubham. So yeah, I mean, it's really something that we are proud of, that people from some of the top places, Maastricht, Stony Brook, Vanderbilt, again, ISI Delhi, Penn State, ISI Calcutta, right? Some of the really best people, Madrid, UBC, Southern Methodist, Missouri, Arizona State, right? So we attract some of the best people, and all of them are research active. That means they're publishing in some of the top journals. They cover areas, as I said, from theory to macro to behavioral to development to data, all kinds of things. Yeah? And the great thing, and we'll come to another slide, I suppose it's there, is that our class size is small. Our intake is small, right? We take in about 20 students, and therefore there's a huge amount of interaction. So you see, can you imagine there are 20 faculty members teaching 20 master's students? Of course, we also teach undergraduates and their PhD students, right? But for a class size of 20, we have 20 faculty members. So imagine the kind of interactions that you will have. It's not only that every faculty member will know your name, they will know exactly how you're doing, what you're doing, and what you can achieve, and will push you to achieve the best that you can. You'll not be a number or a unseen face in a class of hundreds, right? That'll never be the case with us. Yeah. So we offer 4 different programs, and also the minor program. Minor is for people who do undergraduate majors in something else, but want to learn a little bit about economics. The master's program, on the other hand, is a 2-year program, which is much more of the norm in India. And but we did a lot of innovations in the master's program itself, right? I mean, one, again, the kind of material and quality of things that we covered is phenomenal. And I'm not saying just because I want to impress upon you, but really because we don't believe in teaching something that has is like 70 years old or something like that and not been updated, right? Because we update our syllabus, our course material every semester, every time we teach. So our level is at par with some of the best programs that you can think of. And we'll talk about master's program in a bit, some of the innovations that we have done. And of course, we have also very popular PhD programs. We pay among, I'll talk about MSc Economics assistantships, but PhD, again, we pay among the highest in the country. We pay about 50,000 rupees per month to the students to do PhD with us, because we really expect the best to come to us. And that's been the key for us. We get the best faculty, we get the best students at undergraduate, at master's and PhD. We do not compromise on quality, right? So that is something, if you are there, then you should aspire to be among that group of people, right? Masters in economics. Well, a lot of things written here, and you can read at your leisure. I'll point out some of the things. What we try to do is, in the first year, we ensure that you get the best foundation in economics, right? Theoretically, in terms of tools, in terms of the methodology, in terms of what can be done and achieved through modeling, data, all of it. So the first year is all about really pushing you hard to understand what economics is in today's world. And again, it's at cutting edge. It's at a level where research is. That's what we train you at, be it micro, be it macro. There's a statistics course which is required. There is also, you need to compulsorily take a coding course, because today's economics is such that you can't really do anything without getting into a little bit of coding, right? So all of these things are there in the first year. And again, the whole environment is very friendly. First of all, almost all faculty members have open door policy. They actually work a lot with you. They can call you even at 10 in the night if they think that there's something that needs to be done very urgently in your homework or assignment or something like that. So don't be surprised with that. And if you leave, and most of our faculty members actually leave on campus. Some can even meet you after dinner or something to go over some problems that. So don't be, again, taken by a surprise in that, right? So very friendly environment. And again, you get to know research and how research is done and not. And why do I talk about research? Even if you want to get into a corporate job, research is very important in today's world. Why? Because what we are seeing today is a lot of change. And I'm not only talking about COVID. There's a lot of change that's happening in terms of the technology, think about it. Today, if you want to do a PhD anywhere in the world, and if you don't know coding, you'll probably never get into that PhD program. And that wasn't the case even 5 years back, right? So even from a very narrow perspective like this, it's changing so much. And if you look at the job prospects, job markets, and what's happening, it's a very fast-paced job. Do you know who in US hires the highest number of PhDs? Which company? It's Amazon, right? Again, they were nowhere in the scene hiring PhD economics. I'm talking about PhD economics, not masters, not undergraduates, even 5-7 years back. But they are the ones that are hiring PhD economists by a lot. So how to adapt to this kind of a changing environment? You can't ever learn all the tools, all the things that will be required 5 years later, because you don't even know them, maybe. Right? So you need to be able to learn all of that. You need to be able to ask yourselves those questions of what you need to do. How do I get to that point? And research is something that allows you to think in that way. No taught course can actually completely do that, right? So that's why this idea of research, even though so one of the things that you can do in a master's, you can actually write a thesis, but it's optional for master's students. But even if you don't do that, many of the courses, for example, Shampa is here. Shampa teaches a course where she will ask you to do a project in her course, replicate some papers and so on. So you get, not only you get to the level where current research is, but you also get to think about how to think about completely unknown things. Because in research, you need to ask the questions. You need to define questions that you can answer. It's not only I'm giving you a problem, say, okay, what is dy dx of x squared plus 3x plus 5 or something like that. That's easy. Everyone can, that defined problem is easy. So that's the advantage. So we do not compromise on rigor. You have to go through the proofs. You have to actually do that. And you think again, why? Because that's the kind of mental training and mental discipline that is required if you really need to succeed in anything at all. Do you think you'll ever need a proof of a separating hyperplane when you're proving the second welfare theorem? Probably not. But this whole idea that how you navigate a complex problem, ensure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed is very important, right? So that's what we do. Then we go on to the second year where you take a lot of electives, and in here you actually work with actual data. We have access to a variety of data, and every faculty member who will be teaching you will ensure that you get to work with data. You get to learn different kinds of softwares. You also, as I said, you also get to learn different languages like Python, like R. By the way, this computational economics course that we have in the first year was introduced in 2013. I used to teach that. I shared that with maths professor, and this year I'm not. One of my colleagues, Nirwan, is going to teach along with that maths professor. So it was the first time ever in India that we taught computational economics, right? And so those are the kind of innovations. We never shy away from doing things that are not being done elsewhere. And that's how we'll continue doing things, right? And so you get to that exciting level, which is, again, it's something that you have to think about. Are you up for it? Do you want to do this? Are you, really excited by all of this, right? So only then it makes sense to be in this program. Yeah. Go ahead, Shubh. Yeah, so teaching and research assistant, we have about 15 teaching and research assistantships available. What that means is, even though our tuition fees are reasonably low, but for people who get teaching and research assistantship, it's basically net zero. So you don't have any cost of studying at all, right? So that's an advantage, but it's there for 15 students. So if you are among the top 15, then you'll get it. It's very competitive. We select, as I said, very low number of students, but it's the reward is very high, as I also pointed out. So yeah, and the other thing about being part of a comprehensive university rather than being a place where only economics is taught is that you get different perspectives. So as I said, for example, you need to do, for example, coding let's say you wanted to do coding about, and you're doing a search model, you wanted to do coding, you're stuck, you can go to a computer science person and get help, right? And that will not be possible many, many places. And not only that, it's not only about direct help, but kind of perspectives that you get, kind of conversations that you have, kind of different background, people with different background that you meet is amazing, because all of them, you will be staying on that campus. It's very vibrant. And you get to interact with them, you build friendships for life. That's the beauty of it, right? It's so very high quality, but varied, and you get to also meet people from different levels, undergraduate, masters, PhD, all of it, right? So that's also something that's amazing, and everyone helps each other, right? And students, not only students, but also faculty. Faculty also live on campus, so you get to meet them, play maybe basketball with them, or badminton, or football, right? CDC is not only about placement, right? CDC helps you in understanding variety of aspects of job. They train you, they help you understand how to write a CV, they help you understand how to interview, how to even approach jobs, plan for your career. Because at the end of the day, remember, what you are trying to do is you're trying to build a career, and you believe me, all of you will have a really long career. Our life expectancy is going up by the day, and even now people are working till about 70, right? So even if you enter the job market at 30, that is 40 years of work, right? So your first job is unimportant. As you will see when I teach growth models and all, that initial conditions don't matter. It's at the end, the steady state where you reach, right? So you are going to plan for that steady state. And it's not only the faculty members will help you, but the CDC also helps you with that. As of now, we have access to Coursera courses. If it's used in a particular course, it's free, but otherwise some nominal charge might be there. But you have access to all Coursera courses, so you can learn from there, things that may not be offered, or things that suppose you're interested in poetry of some kind, 19th century poetry, you can take a course in Coursera, right? So all of that is available to you. Yeah, areas of research, and again, it will mean nothing to you right now, but it covers a lot of area that we are, and we are about 17 faculty members right now. We are going to add some more soon enough. I've already talked about this, that there's teaching assistantship or research assistantship. So sometimes you'll get teaching assistantship, sometimes research assistantship, depends on the needs of the department, right? It's very quantitative and all kinds of things. For example, things that we do in macro, and I can speak directly because I teach macro. I can guarantee that nobody in this country does that, right? And what we are able to do, we're able to teach you that kind of macro that is absolutely not only absolutely recent, but absolutely which ties the theory and the quant and the data together. Shampa here, for example, uses a lot of data which are household level data, and we have firm level data. So all kinds of data that you can think of, we use. Some of our faculty members use, and yeah, we have all kinds of softwares, and you get to learn all the softwares: Python, R, Stata, MATLAB, Excel, everything that you can think of. Yeah, eViews. eViews is not written there, but we do have eViews. Yeah, go ahead. So now I think, of course, one of the questions that always comes up, and after all of it, is career time. As I already pointed out, the role of an economist is changing rapidly. If you think about what economists used to do 10 years back and what they are doing now, there's quite a bit of change. And I'm talking about not only in India, but globally, and mostly in the industry part, right? So every day we've seen new roles pop up for economists, and new companies who have never ever thought that they will hire economists are hiring economists, right? So these are some of the very traditional, like consulting or investment banking is of course very traditional, but decision making is one of the key areas where economists help, because the way we think, the way we develop our models, and the logical structure behind it helps. And therefore that combined with the data, because these days everyone claims to be a data scientist or an analyst or something like that, right? But there are a variety of aspects of data. One is simply coding, the other is just cleaning up data, fitting it graphs into so on and so forth. But a big thing that economists can do is the interpretation of data. So, while AI and other things can do a lot of the data analysis jobs, and you don't need people to do it anymore, right? Many machine learning routines are there and so on. But it's not only about doing that, right? But it's also about trying to understand what the implications are and so on. And that's where economists score over practically anybody else. So that's one thing that you have to master, understanding and interpreting things, right? And whether it's data or equations or graphs. So that is something that we do, and we build that as a muscle memory in our brains, right? So So that's valued a lot. Then, of course, you can do research, and research not only in academic settings, but a lot of think tanks, even many corporates have their economic research wing, because all of them want to know not only what today, but what's going to happen in the future, right? So there's some bit of that. There's market research that you can do, and marketing firms, again, want you badly, as I already told you. Amazon wants you badly. Amazon has economists every aspect of their business, right? No wonder they're doing so well, huh? Credit risk, market risk analytics, so all kinds of things, and things that we don't even realize today. There are roles for economists, there are NGOs hire economists, government, Niti Aayog and all, they hire economists. So if you are in economics already in undergraduate, I really don't have to tell you that economics is a subject that is tuned to what's going to happen in the future, because in future there will be a churn in types of jobs. So you are going to be very well placed, and SNU, we are very cognizant of this, and we ensure that you can take advantage of any changes that might happen in the future. Yeah. And here again, a lot of big names have come and picked our students. I will let Jay talk about this, the process, as well as some of the companies and so on.
I would first of all talk about what are the major functions, what is the team size of our Career Development Center, and how it is getting operated. So in a university of almost a span of almost 3,500 students currently, we are a team of 20 corporate professionals that are involved in corporate relations part, training and student development initiatives, alumni relations, and convocation to key university events that are there. So as Dr. Partha talked about the corporate relationship part, so we are having the placements, internships, industry-led programs, and industry academia events that comes under the corporate relationships part. Then related to training and students development initiatives, we are having soft skill sessions, industrial interventions, campus placement preparation modules, higher education preparation and counseling, and competition exam tracker and support. So as there are various segments, the past recruiters that have already been mentioned across, so we would be having recruiters from consulting. It could be PwC, it could be Deloitte. Currently, definitely alums are working in BCG, then Kantar. Also, McKinsey is offering the opportunity to the students. Then there would be specifically, as Dr. Partho mentioned about the coding aspect, the data analytics companies like WNS is there, or latent view analytics is there. McKinsey also comes out for the various roles related to research in a combination of your quantitative and qualitative research. Other segment that we are talking about, if I put it in a bucket that has been shown across, is BFSI sector, that is banking, financial and services sector. Society generally, American Express, Bank of America. These are few of the companies that have not only hired PG students, but have also taken PhD students also. That shows the deeper engagements of the university with the marquee clients that are there across the globe. So these are some of the things. Then there are think tanks and research organizations. Dr. Partho, Dr. Rajat Khaduria, who heads the your think tank, major, they are in very close touch with the think tanks, and definitely we do a lot of events along with the think tanks. Recently also we have conducted from 3rd to 7th January a Synergist event. That's an annual event wherein students are exposed to the various industry experts in various sectors working across consulting, data analytics, as well as the think tank. So these are some of the think tanks that are mentioned across the World Bank, the Economist, also the intelligence unit. They do hire the students across, and then definitely there are universities across the globe wherein students are working and doing really well for the same. So these are some of the key points that I can focus upon, and definitely there are lots of addition of the companies that we are having. And as Dr. Partho mentioned about that, it's a student-centric university, so everything is derived for the students, and not only the entire faculties part, but there is strong career development center part that really takes care of the entire things. So this is the brief for the same, and we really look forward for any of the questions at the last for the same.
Yeah, so Shubhra is the program manager, and you will get to interact with her if you have any other questions about this process, right? But we are going to fine-tune this process this year. We'll take a look at it again. In the last 2 years being, of course, completely online applications and exams and so on. So there's an online application process which will always remain online, which was always online. It'll be through the department website. Then what we have is an admissions test. and you'll have to do that. This year it was online, and we are going to take a call. I think it will be online again, so we'll try and do it online. Then some years we do have interviews. We will decide whether we do want interviews or not. Given the COVID situation, we haven't had interviews, so we just use the admissions test, right? So online. Earlier we used to have it in different centers, but now it's online, which you can take from your home, and it was MCQ. The exams were MCQ, but soon enough you'll get to know more details about the next year's, if there's any change or anything of that sort, right? And what we try to do is we try to basically understand your understanding of economics, analytical abilities. It's a whole comprehensive test that we want to do about your learning in economics and some basic mathematics. Because one thing about our program is that we do need maths at undergraduate level, at master's level, at PhD, all level. We use maths. Maths is the language that we use. So we do try to test a little bit about the preparation in maths. Okay. Yeah, so if you go to the website, and I'll not spend much time on that, all of this will be available to you. We have not yet announced next year's admissions process, but once we do that, it will be there available. Yeah, I'll leave you with some pictures. There are a lot of sports facilities, a lot of activities, cafes. Sure, go ahead. These are the places where we will stay, hopefully. Really beautiful. I think back to my college days, and I think, where were such hostels? Go ahead. The Shuttle Service, yeah. A lot of activities. You can do dance, yoga, all kinds of things. Photography club, mountaineering club, gyms. Go ahead. I'll leave you with, this is just a list of our publications. As you can see, it's very, very active department. Go ahead. Yeah, we've also been trying to look at COVID and how COVID impacts the society. So we have been at the forefront of that also. And yeah, some of us also write in different newspapers, and because we do think, reaching out to a general population is also important. So we try to do that. Yeah. All right, I think that's the end of the presentation.
From a student's perspective, I would say even though I also joined in this online mode, I really didn't feel I was lost out or something, especially Sir told because of the great student teacher ratio. And also because specifically since I'm a student and I know other peers who study in other universities, so when I asked with them, so they don't even have a system of office hours, and we. It's very nice. It's not just about just discussing about our subject matters, but also about other decisions, our life decisions, and maybe we are all confused about what to do next. So all those things we could definitely speak to our faculties openly, and they would also guide us towards what we want to do. Also in terms of the learning aspects, like the inclusion of programming, like Sir mentioned, maybe say e-views in the course of time series, or maybe MATLAB macro course, which I never learned in my entire course of time. So that's something what I really appreciate from what I got from SNU. And yeah, all these things, and one great experience what I got from here is the teaching assistantship thing. More than a reward of the stipend what I get per month, the experience what I get teaching students, that too just juniors or bachelor students, a great thing what I could take away from our campus.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So students tend to gravitate towards public universities. There's a lot of preference for them, and that's mostly because they're funded, so the fee ends up being subsidized. And you did mention that the fee at SNU is not that high, but is there, apart from the teaching and research assistantship, is there any other scholarships that the students can avail which can help them?
Right now, see, we actually have a lot of scholarships for people from different backgrounds, particularly in the undergraduate level. Master's level, there are 15 of these students who study for free, right? And that's what we have, of which we last year we didn't get any applications, but there are 2 or 3 which we reserve for people from EWS category, or people who are unable to afford that, right? So we definitely want people from all kinds of backgrounds to come in. Our fees, as I said, is going to change a little bit. It's about 1.5 lakhs this year, but next year I think it will be about 2 lakhs. It hasn't been decided yet, so don't take that as the final number. It might change. So it's very nominal compared to what the market rate is in many other universities. And the other point is, if you look at Delhi University, for example, Delhi School of Economics, you may or may not get a hostel. I was at FMS, by the way, and I know and a lot of friends in Delhi School, so that's also obviously a nice place to be in. But I'm just comparing the cost of it. So if you have to live off campus or in a rented apartment or something like that, it's actually far more costly than what you would pay in SNU. So that's something that many people don't realize, but it's the truth, right?
Yeah, especially girls may not get accommodation in the college hostel because it's common across DU. It's not specific to DSE. So
right.
yes,
there's a VR hostel for boys.
For boys, yes.
And also, our security systems are very good at SNU. So in that way, the students should usually feel very secure. And when Sir is talking about the nominal fees cost, so it's like you're studying in an international university with the kind of diverse faculty backgrounds we have. So, and we constantly keep having the kind of seminars we keep having with the international faculty members. That kind of exposure, I truly believe, is very limited in the public schools. It's next to, it's much lesser. And if there's an event or a seminar happening, only then. We, at our end, we are having these seminars every week.
Every week?
We're having these seminars every week.
Oh, wow, that's wonderful.
Seminar, which is
and we have some international faculty speaking in that with a relevant and current topic. So it's not something that happens once in a while for us. So that kind of exposure, when we talk about all the benefits we offer, that adds on to the minimal cost.
And so is there a compulsory dissertation which the student has to do? Because even that adds a lot to the learning of the student.
No, in masters, we have not kept it compulsory, but we have made it optional. So students who want to do it, they can do it. But if they don't want to do it, it's okay. They can take some electives. Right. Also, there are opportunities. So, for example, we have certain workshops like macro workshop that I conduct with my colleagues, which is every week we meet and we talk about our research as well as different kinds of research. Students can also participate in those, right? So in a continuous basis. So which is essentially research workshop. And even if you don't really end up writing a thesis, but you can do a small project within those workshops.
Okay, all right, sir. And sir, how do you think because students are always kind of concerned with what after? So even once they get into the program, they want to know what are the job opportunities, what are the PhD opportunities, what are the salary packages. So that is also a big, thing that, what companies are coming. So being a new institute, I think still SMU has been able to attract very good companies and you are getting very nice placements and even PhD opportunities. So sir, if you could just elaborate on that for the students?
Sure. First of all, let me talk a little bit about companies per se. So again, look, one thing that I keep telling everyone, and I'll tell you also, and I've already told you, that do not think about your first job, right? Your first job these days is just a stepping stone because you have a long career. So right now, and that's what happens, like, in many programs, where I see people coming the first day. Look at many IMs, and I have so many friends in many different IMs, or when I was at FMS, people come into from the first day, they're thinking about the job, right? But that's not what you need to do. You need to prepare for a career. So please, at this stage, when you're thinking about masters, you're thinking, please do not completely focus on only a first job, but think about what you want to do. Where do you want to be in 10 years, in 15 years? So do that. But having said that, if you look at the kind of companies we have attracted, it's phenomenal. As I said, we have only 20. So one great advantage that you have is you can actually decide what kind of a company you want to be, whether you want to get into finance areas job, and in all likelihood, there will be a matching. Not always, nobody can guarantee that, right? There is always a demand supply kind of a thing, but you're not lost in a sea of 300 students or so, and something washes your way and takes you away. No, that does not happen here, right? So you can get into, as Jay pointed out in that slide, you can get into the top 4, PwC or McKinsey or something like that. Best of the banks, for example, Bank of America or American Express and things like that. Data analytics firms, innovative research firms, small boutique firms, startups. We also have AIC, which is Hotel Incubation Centers. We actually have startups within the campus, but not necessarily that they hire our students, but a lot of startups, because we also have engineering, we also have management, we have all kinds of things. So, there's all kinds of different kinds of companies are coming and looking at us. So we have that advantage. We have the traditional economics hiring people, as well as much more wider set of companies who come and hire our students.
Okay.
Right,
Alright, sir.
the PhD, yeah, let me also that. See, we have been able to place our PhD students in some of the, we haven't placed anyone in Harvard or, top 5 or so, but apart from that, we have UC Riverside or Pittsburgh or some of the very, very, very good places. We have our students there. It's a small number. Remember, we take in 20 students. So we have graduated maybe 6 batches or so, and very small number of students go for PhD at the end of the day, right? Every year. So, and another great thing is you can continue to do our PhD with us, but you have to again go through the entrance test. It's not guaranteed. We have competition at every level, but some of our students choose to do PhD with us. One of our first batch PhD master's student, she did PhD with us, and now she's a faculty member at IGIDR, right? So that's an advantage also that you have, that you can probably think about doing PhD with us, with some of the best faculty members in the country. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Just to add also, definitely a lot has been covered for the same, but related to not only the academic webinars that we are having, we are also having Career Development Center, and in this lockdown, we have almost covered 350 webinar sessions with the industry experts for the same. Okay.
Right.
Secondly, so that's also one of the intervention wherein students learn to from the best of the industry, maybe from consulting, from the BFSI companies, from the think tanks, from the research and consulting that are at the topmost of the positions for the same. And not about this, as we have already talked about, and Dr. Partha has also mentioned that the major sectors that comes in the forefront related to placements, or we call it as graduation outcomes. What are your graduation outcomes that matters as to the most to us? So in BFSI, we would be having like D. Shaw is one of a recruiter that is there. Then Bank of America, American Express, Citibank. And these are some of the recruiters that are in BFSI. Again, in data analytics, there would be companies that would be having a quantitative and qualitative research for the same think tanks. So all of these companies, a cohort of the companies are coming because we are offering UG, PG as well as the doctorate courses. So it's all of the about a transition from a UG to PG and PhD, and a gamut of the courses that we are offering. With a strong career development center team that is professionals of almost 20 professionals working across various segments. So this is what I wanted to add.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. And there are some questions that the students are asking, so I'm just going to repeat it. So some of the students are asking that, they don't really do the coding languages in their, BSc or BA programs that they're coming from. So would they face any trouble? Should they, do some outside course, bridge course before coming in, or will it be done from the beginning?
No, not really. See, that's the thing. I mean, when we started, we did not have a compulsory coding course for master's student because we had it at our undergraduate. But soon we realized we are getting students with no coding experience at all, right? So we have a purely coding course at the very beginning. This year, we're doing it in the second semester because of online mode and so on, which is taught by a professor from computer science department. And we use some of the Coursera modules and so on to train people to do pure coding. So it's there, yeah. So you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to prepare for it. You will have to get into it. You don't have a choice.
Okay. So some students are asking more clarity on the scholarship program, that, how do they qualify for that?
So, as I said, there are 15 assistantship, or we don't call them scholarships because essentially you pay the fees, but you get back that assistantship because you are doing teaching assistantship or research assistantship, right? And it's based on merit. There are 3 seats that we reserve out of the 15 for people who are unable to pay the fees. But otherwise, it's based on the merit. It's based on your ranking in the entrance test, right? So we go by that ranking, and the top 15 get it.
How much do they come out to besides the, teaching the tuition fees?
The hostel fees is approximately 1 lakh. And if they get the discount, it goes up to 25,000. Overall fees that they pay right now is about 1,62,000. And if they get the scholarship and everything, so the final fees that they roughly pay is about 78,000. And that roughly, when they pay it in the beginning of the term, but they get that 12,000 per month. And so in the end, they're actually earning from the university rather than paying if they get the reissue.
Right. So that's the fee structure. 1.68 lakhs is the tuition fees, and about 1 lakh is the hostel fee. Yeah. And then, of course, as Shubhra pointed out, if you get the THCP, you might actually earn money.
The exam is going to be in which month? Probably you could, tell them that so that they can be prepared.
Yeah. So typically we used to have it in the first week of May. right? But the last 2 years have meant that we had to adjust. Though we have done, I would say, thanks to all my colleagues, faculty and staff, that we've managed to start the semester on time every year. This year also we managed to start our semester in August. And as you know, maybe knowing that some universities are still taking in students, but we have already done with one semester, students are into the second semester and so on, right? So yeah, I mean, we would hope to do it in early May, but if the COVID situation dictates some adjustment, we will do that. As you know, these are challenging times. It's very difficult to plan ahead. We will therefore try and make decisions as much as possible, as soon as possible, but there can be changes around it. Yeah.
And just last question, I think student is asking about the mode of exam. Will it continue to be an online exam?
Yeah, I think this year for sure. I think we would want to continue the online mode. The question that we were trying to think about is, will it make sense to have different, computer based, but center, or ours is the proctored exam right now. So
from home you can take the exam.
Yeah, we have different agencies which conduct that exam for us. So we'll probably continue that this year. It will be home proctored in all likelihood.
Yeah, I think that is the only way to ensure that there are no disruptions and it's possible to hold it on time.
Yeah, and people are safe, and we don't want to bring people into a crowded room. So that's the thing. Yeah.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. That was, I think, a very enlightening session. And students, if you have any further questions, if by chance, you can just send it to us and we'll forward it across to sir. And thank you, everyone, to all the faculty, to all the students of SNU who came here to interact with us. Thank you all for your time. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. And stay safe, stay well, and all the best for anything that you want to do in the future. Yeah. Bye.
All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.